At it, and it's hard for me to sit down. I guess it's the teacher in me. I'd probably be walking all around. It's really hard for me to sit down. The reason I said parent, because when I look at everything that I've ever done, it's because of that daughter that I have. My life is based around Raquel, and I always tell her precious things are very few. That's why there's only one of you. And I would say the same thing if I had 2, 3, right there, 4. I tell my kids that in the classroom. So when I look at where I got to where I am now, it's because of Raquel. I taught in the Chicago Public Schools. I've gone from 5th grade all the way through 12th. Probably taught almost every subject. And if anybody asks me, could I teach that subject? I've always said, yes, I could. If I had to teach Polish, I would teach it. And the reason why is because of Raquel. I needed a job. And I've always needed a job. Always worked very hard. Independent schools, I've gone from the East Coast to North, because I've been at Phillips Academy during the summer, where I would travel every summer with Raquel. Raquel started at the University of Chicago Laboratory Schools when I was teaching at Kenwood Academy, part of the science department there. She went all the way up through 7th grade. Raquel's father passed when she was in 7th grade, and I was a school teacher. I could not afford to keep Raquel in the University of Chicago Laboratory Schools. And I told Bev, the University of Chicago Laboratory Schools did not ask me to come to teach. They probably didn't even know that I was a teacher and really needed to work. When I was at Kenwood Academy, Raquel left the lab school in 7th grade, and she had to go to a public school, a very good public school, Ray. But she was accustomed to the small class size, the diversity. In spite of what people say about independent schools, they are very, very diverse. She went to Francis Parker. She spent most of her time reading books in the playground when everybody else was doing what they normally do when you were in 8th grade, getting ready to graduate. Raquel and one of her closest friends was at a fair, like when independent schools come to the public schools and the admissions officers, you know what I'm talking about. Lake Forest Academy came to Ray, and they were looking for students. They were recruiting students that come all the way up to Lake Forest Academy. We stayed in Hyde Park, and Raquel and her closest friend decided they were going to go to Lake Forest Academy. She did everything that she could possibly do to get in. Raquel got in. Her best friend did not get in. The money, and you know how difficult it is paying tuition in independent schools. She had just left one independent school, and I couldn't pay the tuition. There was no way I could pay for a boarding school, because Lake Forest Academy is a boarding day school. I couldn't pay the tuition. And as we all know, to have children, we do whatever we can do to make sure that they have what we didn't have, because I graduated from the Chicago Public Schools. My dad said I was the last child that he would send to a public school. My younger sisters went through independent schools. One graduated from the Latin school, the other graduated from the University of Chicago. My father was a doctor. I was not, and I was not going to ask him to pay for my child to go through an independent school. When Raquel and I went up to Lake Forest Academy to see the school on visit day and the money and all of that, and I was grading papers because I was an AP Bio teacher at Kenwood Academy. And the AP Biology teacher was just about to retire. She was retired at Lake Forest Academy. And the head of school happened to notice I was busy into grading papers while Raquel was taking the test for the Headmaster Scholarship. And she asked me what was I grading. I said, I'm grading biology papers and trying to finish these papers that I can pass back on Monday. And she sat down next to me and she said, you know what? Raquel could get a full tuition at Lake Forest Academy if you were teaching here. You know what I did? Monday morning, because I had already decided this was the environment. I love the kids in the independent school. Very diverse. I went back and told my principal, and he said, oh no. I said, you know what? And all my friends and my family, especially my sister, youngest sister, who was very close with him, they thought I was crazy leaving the city. It just up and leaving. But it said tuition paid. I got to Lake Forest Academy because I followed my daughter so I could pay for her to go to Lake Forest Academy. So that's how I got to Lake Forest Academy. How did I get to the Golden Apple Foundation? When I was at Lake Forest Academy, my second year, I was all into it because that atmosphere, small class size, I could do things that Beverly were talking about that I couldn't possibly do in a public school. I could create, I can't tell you what I could do. My child was thriving. She was back where she wanted to be. So I did everything that I could possibly do. I fell in love with the kids because wherever there is a child of color, there needs to be a teacher of color. I was the only one until I convinced my friend Charlie to come, and when Charlie came, I left because I had to make a bigger difference because I was a finalist for the Golden Apple Award my second year. And every summer, I worked with the Golden Apple Foundation because they like what they do. And the CEO and president now, when he got his job as CEO and president, because he was a Golden Apple winner, he did things like I did during the summer, mentor teachers and help with our scholars program, and we worked very closely together. He came up to Lake Forest Academy, all the way up there, in the office when I was Dean of Students, and sat down and asked me to come to the foundation to be the Chief Program Officer. There are only a few people that could ask me to leave because everybody else thought I would leave Lake Forest Academy after Raquel graduated. But I didn't, because you form relationships with the students. I stayed because of the students and the parents. Notice what I said. The students and the parents was what kept me there. I didn't say anything about the people that I worked with. The students and the parents. I left Lake Forest Academy to become the Chief Program Officer at Golden Apple because I make a difference. I work with some of the greatest high school students who are coming into teaching, our Golden Apple Scholars, every summer. They are great kids. They come out and they teach in schools of need. I also work with some outstanding teachers who are inducted into the Golden Apple Academy of Educators. We cover 5 counties for the winners, but I cover the entire state of Illinois for the scholars. So I left Lake Forest Academy, left it in Charlie's hands, and I came to Golden Apple. So that's why I am at the Golden Apple today. And I went to the independent schools because, and I told you, I was a parent. I went because I went as a parent. So when people ask me my titles, I always put parent first. Parent first and teacher. I never say administration, dean of student. I'm a teacher, but I'm a parent first. So that's me. That's my story.